see the homies with the guap, with the knots, in the rows, that's how I know you niggas really, really broke, with no goals, and it shows. The money blue, designer shoes, Jimmy Choo, Louis boots.
Welcome to the intricate nature of university application. This is your host, John, and
Brendan.
And as of today, we will be uploading our podcast regularly. Our podcast will cover Canadian and American university applications for Canadian high school students. We're not like some sort of like qualified admission advisors, nor are we in some kind of prestigious university, but we're just high school students and we just want to be your companion in the journey towards your goal. Brendan, how's it going?
It's going all right. Life's good.
All right.
Started this podcast today.
Yep.
How's it going?
It's the first episode. How do you feel about that?
It's exciting to sort of, I don't know, just envision what we could do with this whole podcast thing. How, like, the people that we could reach, the topics we could cover, basically.
Yep.
Anything that we want to do.
Yep. So today, we'll be focusing on the mindset you ideally want to have when it comes to pursuing your goals. Whether it would be go and do a Ivy League university or a state funded university or whatever. So yeah, Brendan, like, what kind of mindset do you have, like, to?
I don't know. I guess the mindset that I have when I guess sort of walking into anything that I do is basically just not worrying about what other people think about you. I feel like, and like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not perfect. Like, this was me before, like, growing up especially. Like, I would always worry about what other people thought of me and their impressions, and sort of base my decisions off of like how others would perceive me. And I just felt that really limited me in ways that are unimaginable. Like, I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to, and it just really bugged me. So I think at one point I just sort of stopped caring about what other people thought of me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. You do what you want. I'm like, just go for it.
Yeah, I really do agree with it. I myself is an optimistic nihilist, meaning that I think that nothing in life has a purpose. Like, the universe was created for no purpose. Like, it doesn't have any purpose, right? And that actually helped me overcome the fear of judgment by other people, because nothing matters at the end of the day. When you're lying on your deathbed, it doesn't matter, like, your clothes, like, anything, your appearance, whether you are skinny, whether you are overweight, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, all that matters is your happiness and your satisfaction, and how the quality of the journey, ideally. Like, people are so trapped in, they're so, like, trapped in, like, the results. Like, they only think about the results that's somehow going to happen in the future, right? But
Right.
I really want to focus on, like, the journey of it. Like, the journey is more important, because journey is basically you want to focus on the present moment. Yeah, while you're in journey, that's very important, I think. So,
Yeah, just
gosh,
basically not worry about what other people think.
yep,
That's fine. We're doing great.
yeah. Sorry, guys, this is the first episode, so we're struggling.
This is wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Honestly, we're still gonna post this.
Yeah.
Growth into it's not about what other people think of us. It's about what we think of ourselves. And we're in our minds this is so successful because we actually got started.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think part of being an optimistic nihilist is about that. really just instead of judging other people and criticizing others, focus on self improvement. Um, because criticizing others is, I mean, it's easy to criticize, right? It's very easy to um, criticize other people. You know, but it's a very superficial thing. Most of the people, they only see like the surface of you, so that's why some people criticize. But um, it doesn't like look into your like subconscious mind or anything like that. So definitely, you're the one who knows yourself the best. So I think definitely like believe in your intuition, like follow your
Let's go
like
with your
listen to
guts.
what your gut is telling you. And yeah, I think that's something that really drove me throughout my life. Like it's, I mean, I'm not old, right? I'm like, I'm still a high school student,
You're
but
16.
yeah, exactly. But it's not, but like yeah, following my like my heart, that's something really um you know I learned a lot from my past mistakes. I accidentally just listened to my brain instead of my heart. It's um but brain is something like comes after your heart. There's a saying like follow your heart, but take your brain with you. So definitely like
Right.
you have to be smart, but the north star is your heart. So definitely follow your heart. That was a yeah.
Definitely. But no, but like generally, like I feel like all of us are sort of primed to follow what other people do. Like I feel like that's something that a lot of teenagers especially experience because you're in sort of
Yep, peer pressure.
um, an ecosystem where you don't really have any real freedom to express who you are. You're just sort of confined in that one, I guess, building. Like you're confined in school. You can't really do whatever you want, and a lot of us sort of succumb to just sort of the overwhelming majority and like what they do. And I feel like at least for me, like that didn't really represent me. I'm sure for some people that represents them and who they are as a person, but that didn't necessarily represent me. And just sort of doing that made me a lot more unhappy. I feel like when people whenever you're sort of looking back, okay, you know what, fuck this. I can't.
It's okay, man. It's the first episode. We all
So
struggle, okay? Like it's not that big of a deal, man. It's the first
whatever.
episode. Come
I
on.
feel like when a lot of people sort of walk into something, they think following sort of the path is the better option just because, well, you're following the path. There's not really a lot of sort of mistakes that you can make, if that makes sense. Like you're just going with the flow, is what you're saying. And like if everybody goes in that direction, like you can't be doing something wrong,
Isn't that a
right?
bit of a
But maybe you're
cliche
just
though? Like,
going,
isn't that a bit of a cliche statement? Like to follow your, I don't know, just go with the flow. What's the flow? Like
going with the
define the
flow
flow. What's the flow? The peer pressure? Like
on what other people do. Because like
what?
like teenagers, especially, I don't know, like especially like teenagers, we just care about what other people think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like we care about what we wear, or like how we like show off, or like what we're wearing, or like what technology we have.
Yep.
Like it's honestly, I think that would be the definition of the flow. Just us wanting to fit in. Anyways, I'm
Yep.
done.
Definitely like humans are trivial animals. Like we naturally we want to find a tribe that we belong in. And I guess in that sense, like that's why most of the people our age are very inclined to just follow what others are doing, just to kind of fit in, just to find that tribe, which is completely natural. So I understand it's not new. It's not something new, right? It's something like a lot of people do. So yeah, it's our natural instinct, I think.
And at the end of the day, like we can like sit here for like hours on end and just say like be who you are, but then again, um, it's really up to you. Like
Yeah.
following your
What
passion and
is
like doing
being
what you want to do.
ourselves? Like that's something I want to
doing
ask.
what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy.
But
Sort of,
is it something
I don't know,
like
just
if you do like anything that makes you happy, then like it's like there's boundaries, right? There's definitely like lines that you can't cross. Um, what about that? Like, could you explain more about that?
what do you mean by boundaries?
Like if you can't just fulfill everything that you want, like you can't. There's no absolute satisfaction in life, right? Like if you achieve something, you want more, and you want more, and you want more. It's endless. And how would you deal with that in that situation? Like you achieved something and um, you want more from it. You
You're
know?
just wanting more.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a very normal feeling. And we all, I guess we always crave sort of the feeling of happiness and sort of just achieving one thing and then wanting to achieve another. Um, but I don't know. I would just use that as drive to like sort of do bigger and better things. Like instead of just sort of leveling out and sort of accepting the fact that I've done something great, just use sort of that you know you sort of use the feeling that I've done something great to sort of motivate myself and to do bigger and better things to maybe benefit other people.
Yep.
um that's what I would do. You?
Yeah. I mean, definitely like um, I I personally set really high goals, so it takes a lot of time to get there. But um, I mean, eventually I will get there, and I'll probably want something even bigger. Um, you know, I actually haven't really thought about what I would do when I kind of reach that point, but yeah, I completely agree with you what you said. It's something
Yeah, I
that
just feel like that the
drives
most
us.
yeah, and I just feel like the most, I guess one of the quote unquote dangerous things is to just accept the fact that you've completed something in life and to just not want to go anywhere, or like do anything else like that. Sort of the feeling that you've sort of accomplished that is, in my opinion, just really, I don't know, I guess dangerous. I don't know how else to put it. Like you're sort of just limiting you are your own, literally,
And
you are
me,
your own sky. Just like,
okay.
I don't, okay,
Yeah, it's all like it's all happening in your mind, right? Like it's not like there's no external factors to that. Like it's mostly happening in your mind. Like I mean, like the world, like the
exactly,
way people think about the world, it's basically like most things like people think about the world is it's in their mind, right?
right,
It's not like there's a rule book for like how to live a life, right? It's the way people live their lives. It's all in their minds, right? Yeah. So
right.
and it's all different.
Yeah, I just honestly just do what you love. That's like the whole met takeaway from this.
Yeah.
And just don't stop. Just
Yep.
keep going.
Keep going.
Yep,
Perseverance.
keep going.
Yep.
Perseverance. I
Brendan,
don't.
do you have any
Yeah,
experience in like burning out? Like maybe you overworked and then burnt out.
definitely. As a
How
person
did you
that,
cope with it?
as a person that literally can't say no to anyone, it's something that I
Oh,
kind
are
of
you a yes
am
man too?
comfortable with
Because I'm a
feeling.
yes man.
I'm a yes man. I like
Yeah,
can't say to no to anyone. Like if you ask me
same.
to do something, chances are I'll
I'm
do
a
it for
people
you as long as
pleaser.
it's legal, and I'm a people pleaser too. Like I don't know, just the feeling of not wanting to do anything and just feeling absolutely down all the time is something
Same.
that I've sort of, I don't know, gotten used to feeling really. But what really motivates me is just knowing that how far I've come and just how far I still have yet to go. Like sort of envisioning that end game and that sort of like that finish line of a sort is sort of what keeps me going and what sort of gets me out of a rut when I'm in one. And I think it's really important to have that sort of just visualize your goal and just see yourself achieving it and just knowing that you've already poured in so much time and energy into it. Why
Yep.
stop? Basically having an optimistic or like an optimistic mindset. is something that's really important and has gotten me out of ruts all the time.
Yeah, for me, it was like the energy, like like the importance of having hobbies really played a pivotal role in really getting myself out of the pit. Yeah, doing what I really enjoy doing all the time. It did really help me, um, you know, get out of my lowest point of my life. It yeah, it helped me massively. And yeah, I don't really have much to talk about it, to be honest. Like it was really that
I don't
simple.
either.
So
Just I feel like when it comes to things like this, it's really what works for you. It's really
yeah,
just
right.
it's right. Like we can talk hours about our experience and how we got like get out of ruts, but at the end of the day, like what may work for you may not work for me, and vice
Yep.
versa. And like this applies to anybody else. Um, you really just have to experiment, and honestly, it may take a gosh long time to find what works for you, but once you do it, it'll sort of be like that eureka moment, the moment you've been searching for, as cliche as that sounds. Um, but it'll be worth it. Trust me.
Yep.
Once you find that moment, we really need to be more organized.
Yeah.
Well,
So Brandon, last it's not the last
yeah,
question, but another I have another question for you. Do you procrastinate often?
I have tried procrastinating, and I don't. That's not me. That's not to say I don't put things off, but I feel like I've gotten really good at just as soon as I get something, instead of procrastinating and sort of feel like having that feeling of, oh my gosh, I need to get this done in like 12 hours. I've gotten really good at just planning things out. I think that's the key to just success, is just planning things out. Um, and I think a quote that really, I guess, resonated with me is many people who complain that they don't have enough time, most often it's just because that they don't have a plan. Those
True.
weren't his exact words, but Zig Ziglar, he's an American author and philanthropist. I think he was a philanthropist. He said that, and I don't know, it just made me realize that you really have enough time to do things that you want to. It's just a matter of how you make use of that time and how well you're able to plan ahead, which is why it's really important to have a calendar. So 10 out of 10 would invest in one. Just use one on your phone.
For me, I'm a natural procrastinator for sure. Naturally, I just procrastinate endlessly. But something that worked for me was there's a there's a there's a person called Med Robbins. She's a author. Forgot the name of the book, but it's about procrastination, and she introduces like a rule called 3 2 1. So basically, if you say 3 2 1, there's a dopamine receptor in your brain that controls like your behavior modification and executive functions, right? Your
Right.
basically your prefrontal cortex. Um, but if you say 3 2 1 and do something, um, that basically um, that basically helps you go around that block, um, which is procrastination. So
You're just not wanting to get started.
yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, just I don't know, man.
Are you a natural procrastinator?
Or-
Like naturally, do you procrastinate? If you
I don't think so.
oh,
No.
okay,
Like I
I
just feel like as a person that like this isn't necessarily a good thing because it's like I just feel the need to want to get things done. If it's like 2 in the morning, I'll like work, which isn't necessarily a good thing because like
like are you a
it
workaholic?
does really get to you. I would call myself a workaholic. If it's
Oh, okay.
like if it's during if it's Christmas Day and I'm in the mood to work, I'll go to work. I make good use of all my time. Um,
Nice.
too good of the use of all my time, but I don't know. Just sometimes it really does get to me, just working all the time. And that's a long story in and of itself. So there's that.
Yep. So, I know like if you're preparing for a American university while you're going to Canadian school, you have to do a lot of extra work, especially when you're going to public school, right? Do you have any advices for those, you know, students who are trying out for American universities? Do you have any like advices in like for studying and stuff like that?
In terms of studying, I feel like just again,
Brendan, I think your audio just cut out.
oh, technical difficulties, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to your original question about study techniques. I just feel like sort of just finding what works for you. Again, I know I've said that like 15 times during this, but I feel like I just feel like it's really important to know what works for you because you can't really get anywhere unless you know what works for you because you're just going to be doing things the wrong way and doing things that doesn't work for you. I myself am more of sort of a visual learner. So if you got someone if you paid like $1 million for a tutor to explain a concept to me, I probably wouldn't understand it. It's definitely not the tutor's fault because you're paying $1 million for it, but it's probably my fault in the way that I learn. And I feel like a lot of people just try to, I don't know, they stick to the way that's easiest for them. They like just will read a
Yeah.
textbook over and over again until the sort of the knowledge sticks in their mind, and that doesn't work.
Isn't that something
Um,
that doesn't work though? Wasn't it like I saw an article like a scientific journal that like highlighting a textbook or just reading it over and over and just summarizing. It's not really effective study method. The most effective study method is obviously active recall and spaced repetition, which a lot of YouTubers
exactly.
um, focus on.
Have preached.
Yep.
Um, that's really important as well, but also just learning how you learn. Because in my experience, there's like I feel like three main sections of learning where like that you could summarize it in. I feel like the first one's actual breaking down the content and sort of just dissecting it and trying to understand it to the best of your ability. And the second one's sort of just questioning it to sort of just make sure you fully understand it. So questioning things and just sort of asking questions that, I don't know, just drive your curiosity because learning is all about asking questions. And then just
Yep.
the third step would be building things up, and that could be in the form of notes or it could be in the form of the Feynman method, which I believe is, you actually taking the time to teach someone the concept and trying to explain it to the best of your ability. Um, then and only then I feel like you could actually actively recall, um, or at least at that point would be the most sort of beneficial for you because then you've actually gained all that knowledge, um, to actively recall. Versus if you sort of just read a textbook, you would be sort of just skimming the water in what you would already know. Um, and sort of actively recalling that isn't really beneficial, in my opinion. But then again, what may work for me may not work for you.
Yep. Everyone's different. There's an article um, called "Learning Styles Are Myth." You have any thoughts on that? You ever heard of it? You ever read that article before?
I've never heard of that article. Um, and
There's
that's
a
just
video
because
about it too.
I don't know, or a
Because you
video. I've never
just
watched
talked
a
about
video on it
you
either.
just talked about like that. You just said that you're a visual learner, and
I do believe in
essentially,
learning styles.
the article says that there is no scientific evidence that learning style is a thing. It's just simply like your attention span and stuff like that. All the
It is definitely my attention span. It is definitely my attention span. Like if you want to put it that way, um, I just if you give me like a plain black and white textbook, I'll probably be done within like 10 minutes. It's just again a matter of what you prefer, and for me personally, it's just having a lot of colors in my notes and sort of utilizing that. I am definitely more inclined to, and this is sort of, I guess, proven for me. I'm definitely more inclined to look at notes that have color than notes that are just black and white. I
Yep.
probably wouldn't
Same
look at
here.
it for more than like 10 minutes. So I tend to use a lot of colors in my notes and all that. So I would disagree with that, with the fact that I guess learning styles are a myth. It's just more so your preference and what you sort of like,
Yep. Your personal preference, basically, like your personality, I guess.
your personality and what works for you. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we just talked about essentially the mindset you want to have to get into those top universities. So do you have any like universities that you're like you want to get into or something like American or Canadian?
Any American universities?
Yeah,
I while I do agree that like some universities provide, I guess, a better quality of edu I don't know if that
prestigious.
is
Yeah,
that like controversial, like a better sort of quality of education. I don't really think that one university is better than the
true.
other.
Yeah,
Um, in my opinion, I know a lot of people would disagree with me. It's just at the end of the day, like you're learning
it's a
more,
college
like you're just
education.
expanding your knowledge. It's a college
True. Yeah,
education, and whether or not you choose to go to a state-funded
exactly.
like a school or like an Ivy League, it again it just boils
Yeah.
down to
So
sort of the environment. I feel like that's really important. The environment that the university provides you, and
yep,
I don't know. I feel like that's most important
and like
because
the
that's the one
quality
thing that
of
will
the
differ.
material, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that will differ from university to university is the experience that you get and
Yep.
just sort of the quality. At the end of the day, you're still going to get a degree or a certificate
Yep.
for all your work. Um, I
Essentially,
guess
like the
so. If you
reason
want,
University of Toronto is so like highly ranked is because of like the amount of like research and the data they have. Like it's yeah,
all
that's
the
like the
pioneer
number
work
one
that they've
thing.
done
Yeah.
is, yeah, I agree.
It's not really like about the quality of like the teaching. It's about the data they have. Like the what's it called? I forgot. But yeah.
The research that they do and like
Yep.
the work that they produced. Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you're still going to get a degree or a certificate, and like
Yep.
whether like where you got that is probably not going to matter 20 years from now, as long
True.
as you
Very
have
true.
one.
Yep.
Um, so I guess in my opinion, I don't really have any particular universities in mind. Um, honestly, it would just boil down to the cost and just sort of where I feel like I would fit in most. I think that those are the two most important things for me.
Do you believe that there's useless degrees? Like, for example, like some people say graphic design degree is useless compared to a computer science degree. What are your thoughts on? What do you have any like thoughts on that?
I don't think that there are any useless degrees, quote unquote. I just think that some degrees are more useful in that they provide more job prospects. So, for example, I can't really speak to this. If you have a graphic design degree, then you're probably going to be, I don't know, working alongside, I don't know, like the marketing team or something, or people who would actively require it. Whereas I feel like if you had like a computer science degree, like it really opens a lot of doors for you because you get to like, I don't know, become an entrepreneur or just, work for one of the bigger companies like IBM or like, I don't know, maybe Apple. Um, yeah, honestly, I don't think that there are any useless degrees.
So that was it, guys. End of the podcast. We just
Brilliant.
hit this 30-minute mark, and yep, the first episode
We
of
hope you've enjoyed.
yep, just yeah.
Awesome.